The lobby felt carved from ice and glass. Numbers climbed on the screens, doors sealed without a sound. Heels struck the floor like tiny hammers nailing down emergencies. He moved through it all with his head lowered, pushing a cleaning cart that squeaked as if asking permission to exist. No one used his name. They said, the janitor on 30. But there was a name, Jordan. And there was a past. Hands that once held smaller hands. Long nights stitching toys for a boy with a gap-toothed grin. That afternoon, the elevator seemed to hold its breath. The air conditioning whispered, and behind the last column, the one the camera didn't catch, came a muffled cry. Not tantrum noise, but the low sound of something broken trying not to make trouble. Jordan stopped. His mop handle stood upright for a second. He knelt the way you approach a cracked vase. From his shirt pocket, he took out a crooked teddy bear he had sewn the night before. He didn't speak. He set the bear on the floor, exactly at a safe distance, and he stayed. Time compressed into breaths. First, the sobs softened. Then a pair of swollen eyes appeared under hair hurriedly tied back. The girl, Isabel, looked at the bear, then at the man who wasn't intruding. She reached out, touched cloth that smelled like simple soap in an old house. She hugged it, and the crying stopped of its own accord, not because anyone told it to. Upstairs, wrapped in glass that reflected the city like a blade-bright ocean, Eleanor Pierce paused the world. A CEO who signed billion-dollar contracts and took calls from governments pressed her hands to her mouth when she saw, on a monitor, a gesture so small doing what the experts could not. 3 months of cold clinical reports, 8 nannies, 9 therapists, a marriage turned into a picture frame, a daughter shrinking inside a corner of expensive toys, and now a stranger in a blue uniform delivered 3 minutes of peace. In Eleanor's memory, an echo. Isabel, sweetheart. Today we're meeting a new doctor. The answer had been a scream that sliced the air like shattered glass. Now a single tear, heavy as mercury, hit her keyboard. The next morning, the building gleamed like a promise no one believed. Eleanor arrived early. The cafe smelled of warm bread and nerves. In HR, subject lines bled red. "I want the janitor from 30, she said without raising her voice. An hour later, a cold PDF. Jordan Blackwell, 38, BA in Early Childhood Education, former teacher, current subcontractor for Clean Corp. A gap in the resume that hurt to read. Reason for leaving, not provided. Meanwhile, on the ground floor, Isabel returned. Not by the elevator. She still avoided that metal animal. But by the stairs, counting steps like gathering courage in numbers. She sat 2 paces from Jordan. He kept wiping tables, never breaking the silence's spell. Minutes later, a bottle cap slid onto the floor between them. His voice came low, a storyteller's murmur. Once upon a time, there was a little cap everyone threw away. The girl's thread-thin voice. What was its secret? Jordan lifted his eyes not to teach, but to trust. That its worth wasn't what others saw. It was what it could see in itself. Problem, solution, new problem. Isabel spoke, and tension unknotted, until a receptionist noticed, whispered. The corridor tuned in. It isn't every day the untouchable girl leans close to a near-silent man. 2 analysts hovered too near. A manager drifted by. The rumor took shape. Who is that guy? The building that swallows secrets began to chew this one. On 30, Eleanor replayed the footage. Pause. Zoom on the crooked bear. Uneven ears. Button eyes that glinted like tiny tears. A childlike ache tugged her chest, the urge to stitch what she no longer knew how to name. The phone lit up. Board scheduling demands. Analysts worried about the stock dip, clients asking for assurances. "We'll handle that later," she said. But later kept getting shorter. At 3 on the dot, they met again. The ritual repeated, but changed. Rosa Alvarez, the cafe manager, left a hot chocolate on the corner table. "For la niña," she whispered to Jordan, eyes damp with the losses she carried. Behind the counter, Hector, a waiter and theater student, noticed the way the girl cupped the mug with both hands, as if it were a small son. He'd write that image into a play he worked on at midnight, not knowing the subplot would someday become hope for another kid in the building. Near dusk, Eleanor went down. Firm heels, a breath learning to be gentle. She found Jordan polishing the glass, a double reflection, the man and the city. Mr. Blackwell. He turned, recognized the woman from magazine covers, but treated her like any parent racing to save a small world. The exchange was brief, bracketed by silence. "How long have you worked here?" 2 months. "Do you know who Isabel is?" "I do." "You helped her." He wanted to deny it. He couldn't. She wasn't asking. She was acknowledging. Relief at being seen. The question that cuts. "You were a teacher. Why are you a janitor?" The mop handle creaked. Jordan averted his eyes. "It's personal, ma'am." Eleanor was used to doors opening. She met one that chose to stay closed. Before she could press, Isabel appeared, clutching the crooked bear like a lifeline. The world reduced to 3 people and 1 poorly stitched toy. "Will you come back tomorrow?" she asked. Jordan didn't promise. He tilted his head, an answer children understand better than words. That night, the city poured cold gold through the cracks of Eleanor's office. She didn't sleep. She opened Jordan's file, closed it, sat before photos of her husband and daughter, remembered laughter that no longer echoed. The blinking cursor became a metronome of anxiety. She typed an email to a private investigation firm, deleted it, typed again, sent. Sometimes a mother needs facts to face formless fears. In Queens, a small room under a soft yellow bulb. On the table, fabric scraps, thread, a dull knife, pieces of light wood. Jordan spoke to someone who wasn't there, turning pages in a worn album. "She talked today," he told the quiet. And when sleep nearly came, a coal bright memory. A boy missing a tooth, promising to build a castle. Jordan's heart hurt once, then softened. The body's way of saying life is learning to ache differently. Morning returned to a building primed and buzzing. The reception knew the janitor's name. A compliance analyst floated the word protocols. The general counsel, brows sharp as calligraphy, sent a clipped message. Risk? Above them all, Victoria Chen from the board requested time with Eleanor to discuss governance. Problem, apparent solution, a bigger one forming. Eleanor exhaled and went down alone. She found Jordan within his small territory of buckets and cloths. The corporate world could fit inside the 2 square meters where someone wasn't trying to fix. Just stay. Eleanor extended a hand that wasn't CEO. It was a mother learning. "If Isabel permits, I want you to keep coming at 3. Jordan's voice was a thread. "I don't do this for money." She kept her cadence. "Neither do I." The agreement that no paperwork could hold sealed itself in the space between 2 people who recognized the same grief. When Eleanor returned upstairs, the notification arrived. Subject: Preliminary Report, Jordan Blackwell. She read the first lines. Breath snared. A name, a date, an accident. The corridor cameras caught Eleanor frozen, realizing the teddy bear moment had roots far deeper than she knew. The chapter turned on a click. Attachment, public record. The screen's blue light washed her eyes. Outside, the city kept running, oblivious to a mother on the edge of understanding who, exactly, had sat beside her girl. The email opened like an old wound. On Eleanor's monitor, the report said more than numbers. Ethan Blackwell, age 5. Accident. A hospital at dawn. A silence that didn't end. She lifted her forehead to the window's cold glass and let herself breathe like someone breaking the surface after too long underwater. At 3, Isabel was already waiting downstairs, bare in her lap, shoes swinging off the chair, her heartbeat learning trust. Jordan sat 2 paces away. From his pocket, he pulled a rough wooden car with bottle cap wheels. "It belonged to a boy who loved building castles," he said, voice low. "Does he still have it?" Isabel asked. Jordan nodded, honest in the way you don't lie to children. "He keeps it here," he said, touching his chest, "and in the places where we still laugh." Above, Eleanor came down. Not as a CEO, but as someone who had learned the language of loss. "Mr. Blackwell, would you come upstairs with me?" He looked to Isabel. She hugged the bear and nodded yes. In a smaller room without executive glass, Eleanor set a folder on the table. "I read it," she said. "I'm sorry about Ethan." Jordan gripped the chair. There is no armor against a truth like that. "Thank you. I need to ask something," she continued. "Stay. Not as an invisible worker, but as someone my daughter chose." "I'm afraid I'll fail," he admitted. "Me too," Eleanor answered with a sad smile. "We can learn from mistakes, as long as we don't let go of her hand." The agreement fit inside an unhurried handshake. No contract could sign it better. In the hallway, Victoria waited, expression straight as a ruler. "Eleanor, the board wants answers," she said, cool. "The company can't be an emotional lab." Eleanor didn't raise her tone. "The company is made of people, and today a very small person began to speak again. That counts. And when the press finds out? When they do, they'll choose a side. I've chosen mine." At the cafe, Rosa set down 2 hot chocolates. One for the Nina, one for the man who remembers to sit. She winked. Jordan smiled with his eyes. Isabel blew steam and leaned her head against his shoulder, testing whether the world could hold the weight of something so light. It could. That night, Queens breathed slow. Jordan opened the box of scraps. He sewed a small blue cape for Isabel's bear and stitched one word into the lining with white thread. "Here." Because sometimes a child doesn't need, "It'll be okay." She needs to know where the safe here is. The next day, the story leaked. A sloppy site posted, "Billionaire hands child to janitor. Act of madness?" Comments split like knives and hugs. Phones glowed, elevators gossiped. Compliance called a meeting. Legal said liability. Eleanor gathered a few in a room and cut through. "Accuse me of anything. Just don't accuse me of failing to protect my daughter." "And Mr. Blackwell?" someone prodded. "Who's responsible for him?" The answer came from the door. Isabel, bear in hand, facing a wall of adults. "I am," she said in a thread of a voice that hushed the room. "I'm responsible for him. He listens to me." The sentence hovered, seeking a place to land. It found hearts. Near day's end, 2 officers stepped through the turnstile. The world froze for a beat. "Jordan Blackwell, we need to ask you a few questions." Isabel clutched his arm, panic rising fast. "Don't take him. They took my dad and he didn't come back." Jordan knelt, eye to eye. "I'm here," he said, tapping the bear's blue cape. "And I'm staying." Eleanor arrived, steady. "Any questions go through counsel. Without a warrant, no one leaves." The officers retreated behind a wall of bureaucracy. The damage was done. Fear had entered. That night, Jordan rode to 30. The city below blinked like an impatient constellation. "If I become the problem," he began. "You're part of the solution," Eleanor finished, gentle. "We don't choose the storm. We choose who we cross with." On Saturday, he brought Isabel a hand-drawn map, not of streets, but of feelings. Fear, anger, missing, good memory, safe place. Each section in crayon. "When your heart gets lost, we check the map. And if we still don't know, we go back to here," she said, pointing to the bear's cape. "Exactly." Eleanor watched from the doorway, learning that leadership is sometimes making room for what heals. On Sunday, the building slept. Eleanor's phone rang at 10 p.m. Maria from the night team. "Ma'am, Isabel's gone." Ice filled Eleanor's veins. She ran, called security, dialed Jordan. "She took her bear and the notebook, that's it." "I know where she is," he said, grabbing his keys. Side door, dark hallway, a thin beam from a flashlight cutting dust in an older wing. In the office where Richard once laughed, Isabel curled up, lamp on, bear clutched. "I wanted to hear my dad," she sobbed. Jordan sat on the cold floor and offered the kind of hug that doesn't promise miracles, only presence. "When you laugh again, a piece of him laughs too," he whispered. "And when it hurts, I'll stay until the wave's peak passes." Footsteps rushed. Eleanor dropped to her knees, wrapped her arms around her daughter. "I miss him every day," she confessed. "But we won't lose each other anymore." Back at the new building, 4 cups on the cafe counter, 2 hot chocolates, 2 teas. In the middle, the bear with the blue cape. Rosa smiled. "Looks like 3 people got found today." The day after, microphones, flashes, a packed auditorium. Eleanor took the stage. "I didn't hire a title. I invited a heart," she said. "If the world calls it madness, let it be the madness of not giving up on a child." In the back, Jordan stayed where he always stood, 2 steps behind, fully present. Isabel in his arms whispered, "When you tell me stories, Ethan hears them too, right?" He nodded. Words nodded in a way that finally didn't hurt. "He does." That's how, before any program, budget, or headline, what would be called Ethan's Light was born. First as a gesture, then a room, finally a path where those who ache learn to become a lighthouse. The whole building seemed to breathe faster. The New York Tribune screamed, "Billionaire entrusts daughter to janitor." Faith or desperation? Eleanor read it once, enough to see her face under the word scandal. On the glass floors, gossip turned to metrics. Stock down, shareholders restless, urgent emails. The phone wouldn't stop. She let it ring. On the 40th floor, 10 chairs filled with 10 certainties. At the head, Eleanor, too calm for the blaze. To her right, Victoria Chen, all ice. "You've put the group at risk," Victoria began. "What's at risk is my daughter." "With respect, your daughter is not corporate agenda." "She wasn't," Eleanor said, lifting her gaze, "until she became a symbol of what our products claim to protect. Human life." Silence thickened. The young marketing director cleared his throat. "The feeds are split, half supportive, half calling for a boycott. We need a statement." Eleanor breathed. "Book the auditorium. I'll speak myself." Victoria snapped her folder shut. "You'll expose us more?" "No, I'll expose the truth." Downstairs, Jordan cleaned the same square of floor for the 10th time just to give his hands a job. Since the police episode, every look in the hallway felt like a question dressed as courtesy. But Isabel still came at 3. sat beside him and opened her sketchbook. "I'm making a story," she said. "About what?" "About a girl who found an invisible friend who glows on the inside." Jordan smiled. "Invisible, huh?" "Yeah. No one saw her, but he saw her." She drew two figures hand in hand, one big, one small, and above them wrote, "Ethan's Light." Jordan went still. The name echoed. "Where'd you hear that, princess?" "I dreamed it." He took a long breath. Maybe that was it. The universe whispering through a child. At 10 on the dot, the auditorium filled. Reporters, cameras, phones raised. Eleanor climbed the stage with no script, no handler. Hair pulled back, voice steady. "3 months ago, I lost the man I loved," she began, and the murmur dropped. "I tried specialists, protocols, money. Nothing brought my little girl back. Then one day, a man without a doctor's badge sat beside her and stayed. He didn't tell her what to feel. He let her feel. Sometimes that's all a soul needs to begin to return." She paused, made eye contact. "His name is Jordan Blackwell. Yes, he was a janitor. Yes, he lost a son. And yes, he did what no degree could. If that's madness, we need more of it." Flashes popped. One journalist asked the only question that mattered. "Do you trust him with your daughter?" "With my daughter, and with my life," she said, "because he understands loss, and those who understand loss don't harm." The room rose in applause. In the back, Victoria stayed seated, but her eyes shone. Outside, Jordan waited with Isabel, bare in her lap. "Mom, you spoke beautifully," the girl said. "I spoke about us," Eleanor answered, kneeling. "And about who taught us how to stay." Reporters swarmed Jordan. "Do you feel like a hero?" He shook his head. "I just sat on the floor. The rest was love." But headlines don't fade quickly. Anonymous emails, false tips, old files reopened. Clean Corp felt pressure to cut him loose. The manager called him in. "Jordan, they want your contract ended." "I understand," he said. "But I'm not doing it," the man added, rubbing his neck. "The CEO is moving heaven and earth for you." And honestly, the girl is smiling. That's too much of a miracle for me to get in the way. Sunday, Eleanor's apartment wasn't a fortress anymore. It was a home, a simple table, the smell of cake. Jordan knocked, shy. Isabel ran. "You came. I promised, didn't I?" On the wall, a crayon drawing showed 4 people, Eleanor, Isabel, Jordan, and a blonde little boy holding the bear. Above, in a child's hand, "Family of Light." Eleanor studied it, voice soft. "I think my daughter just named what we are." Jordan looked at the little boy. "Yeah, a family sewn by fate with mended thread, but strong." Isabel climbed into his lap. "Will you come to school with me tomorrow?" He hesitated, glanced at Eleanor. "Is that okay?" "It's right," she said. "Every child deserves an adult who knows how to listen." Monday, Eleanor gathered comms. "We're launching something new, free, open, human." "Name?" the press lead asked. Eleanor looked at her daughter with the bear, then at Jordan. "Ethan's Light." "And what is it?" "A space for grieving kids, where no one has to be fixed, just heard." Pens paused. "And the coordinator?" "Already chosen." "The janitor?" "The man," she corrected, "who taught me what hope is." By late afternoon, the sun angled across 30's glass. Jordan, cart parked, looked out at the city. Isabel ran in, leaving tiny prints on a freshly polished floor. "Look, Uncle Jordan," she showed a paper star. "I made it for you." He took it as if it were glass. You know what it reminds me of? What? That even a small light can guide someone home. From a distance, Eleanor knew the worst of the storm had passed. The rest would be building, slow, real, made by hands that had learned not to let go. The sign still smelled like fresh paint. Ethan's light. A room for listening and imagination. No mirrored glass, no gold badges, just a simple light wood door opened. Jordan entered first carrying a box of hand-sewn toys. The walls, soft yellow, were speckled with star drawings. In the corner, a round rug and 3 cloud-shaped cushions. Eleanor watched with a new calm, the kind you learn when you stop running and learn to remain. At 3, the first kids arrived. A 6-year-old who lost his mom to cancer, an 8-year-old caught between divorcing parents, a boy who only said, "No one hears me." Jordan didn't interrogate. He sat on the rug, pulled a blue bottle cap from his pocket, and began, like always, with a story. Once there was a little star who thought its light was too weak. One night, a lost child looked up and followed just that one light. And the star learned it didn't have to shine brighter, it just couldn't go out. The kids stilled, absorbing. "What if it flickers?" one asked. Jordan smiled. "Then we lend it a piece of ours until it returns." Outside, reporters waited. But the headline this time wasn't a scandal. It was simple. From grief to light, CEO and janitor open space for healing kids. For the first time, Eleanor Pierce sat in print without dollar signs hovering nearby. That night, the building was dark. Eleanor turned off the last switches and stood alone in the center of the new room. She looked at the mural where Isabel had pasted a photo of the gap-toothed boy, Ethan. Below it, the words that became the place's creed. "Sometimes the brightest light is born from the pain we survive." She breathed, feeling weight and lightness coexist. Jordan appeared at the door, apron still tied. "Looks good, huh?" "It does," she said. "I think we finally built something money can't buy." "Do you still miss him?" "Every day," she smiled. "But when I hear Isabel laugh, it's like he laughs along." Jordan nodded. "That's how it is. I hear Ethan sometimes too, in their laughter." The weeks that followed moved like a gentle tide. Isabel came after school, helped kids paint, taught them how to hug the cloth bears, always adding, "Mine was the first." When people asked what Ethan's light meant, she answered, "It's when you feel longing, and instead of hurting, the longing lights you up." For each new child, Jordan made a toy. On the back, he stitched a word: courage, hope, patience, love. One per night, like prayers in fabric. On a rainy afternoon, Eleanor found Jordan reading aloud while the kids drew. He told a story about a castle made of broken glass, one that shone because it had enough cracks to let sunlight in. The children listened, spellbound. Eleanor realized the man who once wiped away other people's shards was teaching the world how to see beauty in them. When the kids left, she stood there. "Do you see?" she said softly. "Everything you lost turned to light." Jordan looked at the wet windows. "I think pain, if we let it, learns to work on our side." She smiled. True. Months later, the small project became a network. 10 centers in New York, then Boston, Chicago, Seattle. Volunteers arrived from everywhere. Nurses, teachers, grieving parents, mothers who had begun again. No one needed a certain degree. Only the commitment to stay when pain shows up. At the 1-year mark, a small hall filled. Eleanor introduced the man everyone wanted to hear. Jordan walked slowly in the same blue uniform, now without a logo, a symbol that he no longer belonged to invisibility. "I'm not a therapist," he began. "I'm just a dad who lost a child and found, in another child's silence, a way back. If I learned anything, it's that we don't get over it. We go on, together. And if pain has an echo, may it call more people closer." Applause rose. Isabel flew into his arms. "I love you, Uncle Jordan. I love you too, little star," he said through tears. From the front row, Eleanor held a photo. Richard with their daughter in his arms, smiling. For a moment she was sure he was there too, sitting in the quiet, watching what mended love can make. Later, on the roof, cold wind, the city lights below. Eleanor and Jordan stood side by side. "Remember when you told me you didn't want to be seen?" she asked. He laughed toward the skyline. "I remember. Now the whole world sees you." "I still prefer the quiet," he said. "It's where we hear what matters." She nodded. "You know, Jordan, I don't think it's about fixing what we broke." "No," he said. "It's about living with the shine of the cracks." Down in the park, Isabel spun with other kids, bear in hand, laughing free. For the first time since the plane went down, Eleanor felt whole. Not because the pain had ended, but because finally it made sense. The sun slid toward gold and lilac. Jordan watched the girl, then Eleanor. "I think Ethan's proud." "I think so too," she said, eyes wet. They stayed while the city lit itself, each window a reminder that some wounds never close, yet still light the way home. A year later, winter arrived light, cold wind, clear sky. The Ethan's light sign wasn't new but glowed stronger. 30 centers now. Children, parents, grandparents, volunteers. Stories once too painful to tell, now told with pride. On the main wall, a growing mural, smiling faces, bright notes, small cloth squares stitched with words like missing, strength, gratitude. At the center, an image, Isabel and Jordan sitting on the floor among handmade toys, looking at each other like they knew the moment was a miracle that needed no angels. Isabel was 8 now. She could read whole stories and sometimes wrote her own. She arrived with a backpack and a bear mended more times than any shirt. She'd sit among new kids and say, "He used to be sad, but a friend stitched him for me. Now he's strong, like me." Eleanor watched from a distance, her heart quiet. Time hadn't erased Richard's absence. It transformed it into a different presence, a calm one. She saw him in her daughter, the sideways laugh, the habit of checking the sky before sleep. "You're still here," she whispered each night before turning out the light. Jordan came early. Even as coordinator, he still liked to clean before the day began. An old habit, shine the floor, see if the heart follows, he joked. In his simple, doorless office, a table covered in drawings and half-finished toys. Above it, a framed line in Isabel's handwriting. "Mr. Jordan doesn't fix things. He listens until they fix themselves." Sometimes he stopped beneath Ethan's photo and smiled. "We did it, buddy," he murmured. "We're helping people find their way." A Saturday crowd gathered, Ethan's Light's first birthday. White balloons, warm coffee, simple cake. Eleanor spoke with Isabel's hand in hers. "A year ago, I thought my life had ended. Now I know love doesn't end. It changes shape." She looked at Jordan in the back, discreet as always. "He taught me that. He taught my daughter to smile again." Gentle applause, soft sniffles. Jordan took a breath, stepped forward. "I'm no speaker," he grinned at himself. "But I learned this. We don't heal people. We stay with them while the hurt heals what it needs to. Sometimes that's everything. The children lit small paper lanterns, one for every good memory. Isabel raised hers. This one is for Ethan, so he can see us shining from up there. Jordan knelt and hugged her. Thank you, my star. That evening, Manhattan glittered with 1,000 windows. Eleanor, Jordan, and Isabel walked the park. The girl ran ahead, laughing, the bear swinging by its arm. Careful, it'll fly away, Jordan called. If it flies, it's because it learned from us, she shouted back, and they laughed. They settled on a bench. Eleanor looked up at the night, pin-pricked with light. When Richard died, I thought everything ended, she said. Now I see. Sometimes life doesn't give back what we lost. It brings us something else that needs loving, and that something ends up healing the rest. Jordan nodded. And we heal by staying. Leaves rattled. Each seemed to glow before falling. Isabel tucked herself between them. We're a family, right? Eleanor and Jordan traded a look. Yes, sweetheart, Eleanor said. A family made of pieces that chose to stay together. Even when it hurts? Especially when it hurts. The world shrank to the size of that instant. Months later, Ethan's light won the Heart of the City award. Jordan refused to go alone. He called every child to the stage. In the middle of the crowd, his voice carried without a mic. I lost one child and gained 100. The room rose. Eleanor cried openly. Isabel in his arms whispered, Now Ethan is a star and we're the sky. Jordan looked up, eyes wet. That's right, love. We'll keep shining for him. Driving home, Eleanor passed the company's first tower. The lights on 30 were still on, reflections in the glass. She remembered the day a quiet man and a cloth bear changed everything. She smiled, certain that miracles aren't made of spotlights. They're made of small presences that refuse to leave. In his apartment, Jordan lit a candle by Ethan's photo. Good night, champ, he whispered. Tomorrow there's a pile of laughter to watch over. He closed his eyes, and for the first time in years, slept in peace. Next morning, the park overflowed with laughter. Isabel ran with other kids, bear in hand. Eleanor and Jordan watched, shoulder to shoulder. You know what I realized? She said. Every time Isabel laughs, the world starts again. Jordan watched the girl. And every time the world starts again, Ethan's laughing with her, he said quietly. The wind lifted leaves and giggles. The day moved on, simple, bright. And the story, theirs, everyone's, didn't end. Because love, when it finds a way to continue, never does. There are aches that don't disappear. They learn to shine differently, like stars that exist because the dark keeps coming back. So it was with Jordan, Eleanor, and Isabel. Each arrived cracked, and in the cracks, a window formed. Through it, light came. Ethan's light isn't a building. It's what we call the moment someone chooses to stay. The breath between a sob and a hug. The silence that says, I understand. The memory that no longer wounds, only lights the path home. In the end, we aren't made by what we lost, but by what we keep choosing to love, even when the world says it's too late. And if you ever feel invisible, remember, the truest light is the quiet kind. It doesn't make noise. It just turns on. In a cloth bear, a child's smile, or a tired heart that still believes love can begin again. Which part of this story spoke to you most? And what city are you watching from? This story reminds us that true energy comes from within, the kind that renews us every day. If this story touched your heart, check the pinned comment to discover products that inspire renewal and balance. Leave a like and subscribe to join us in our next story.